All right, we are live. Show Me the Money Club with Sergio, myself, and special guest, Mr. Bet on You, Pedro, Doordash, Santiago.
Since joining website this month, I've already earned.
Oh, what is it? I forgot to get that clip. I wanted to find that, and I couldn't really find it. What we were talking about last time when you came on live. Did Santiago send you? So I got to find that.
I remember that. I remember that.
Yeah. All right. So we got a pretty packed show. So first, we're going to announce the winner of our giveaway, which was, wow, this was the most miles given away, or most miles on your car giveaway for the amazing portable car jump starter, which is, some of these things blew us away when Sergio and I were looking at it. We got Pedro on talking about the gig conference. We're going to recap that. Also kind of a rideshare versus food delivery part two, I guess you could say, because there's been a little switcheroo going on. So it's going to be pretty interesting to go that. And then we got a couple other things talking about, upfront earnings. Lyft is testing it out. Just a couple of things there. We also got a scam warning for drivers to watch out. This is mostly rideshare. So we're going to be kind of going over everything. So yeah, we got a pretty packed show. So thank you again, Pedro, for coming on. This is second, which is awesome. So
my pleasure, gentlemen. Always a good time.
All right. Well, let's first start off with the giveaway. So we wanted to announce the giveaway winner. So right there, most miles on your car, Boramian with 428,000 miles on your car. That is insane. So congratulations. But before we get on that, we actually had a winner already. He won. And, we are going to have to go again going forward for our any contests that we may have coming forward. We're going to have to put in a rule that says if you won within the last year, you won't be able to win. So to rectify that, because we didn't make that a rule, we will be giving you the amazing portable car jump starter. But our second place winner is also going to win because we have two of them. So thank you, Amazing, for sending this. And our second place winner, John P, with 405,000 miles on your car. Wow. You guys are getting full uses out of your car, which is truly amazing. So, Sergio, when you sent that, I could only imagine what you were saying when you saw that. Sergio, you there?
I think we got mic issues.
Okay, sorry. So I was saying those are fully depreciated assets.
Yeah. You know what, though, in today's market, you could probably sell them for a pretty good penny, but would you want to if they're still running well? So Doramian, and if I screwed that up, I apologize, and John P, awesome with the cars, taking care of them. This will be truly something good for you, especially with, possible battery issues or anything with high mileage and all that. So hopefully you're taking care of your cars, no engine tick, engine whine, or anything like that. But congratulations on the amazing portable car jump winner. Did they reach out to you? Do you got email address or I'm sorry, not email address. Do you got addresses to send them yet?
No, not yet, but I'll send them an email and I'm sure they'll both respond happily. I was thinking with a car that 428,000 miles on it, I think the last thing he's worried about is the battery.
Do we know what kind of cars those guys have?
Yeah, the winner had a 2012 Prius.
Yeah, the other one had like a 2013 Lexus.
And the second place was a Lexus Hybrid, 2014 or 15.
Not surprised. I mean, those are good. Those are good automobiles for high mileage. So
yeah, I mean, but if you think about it, right? Okay, so I can understand the 2012 having 40,000 miles a year, let's say, right? The other one though, 2014 or I think it was a 15.
Wow!
In 7 years, 400,000 miles. That's what is that? 50,000 plus miles a year, right?
They're working every day, 12 hours a day.
Yeah.
Oh, they're out there.
Yeah.
Hey, I'm sure there's personal miles in there too, but
there. But for rideshare, going all over the place.
Man,
that's a lot of miles. That's a lot of time in your car too. So hopefully they're getting up and kind of walking around a little bit, because that's a lot right there.
That's a lot. Yeah, I couldn't do that. No way.
No, no, no.
All right. Well, congratulations, guys, on the winners, and wow, awesome with those cars. You know, we were talking last week because I have 182,000 miles or something on mine, and like, oh, that's no, the 428,000, 405,000. It's like, wow. Pretty much everybody that sent in pictures was over 200,000 miles. Just about everybody. So crazy. All right.
Yeah.
So Pedro, a couple weeks ago, we had Gig Conference 2022. I guess first out of hopefully several, which is awesome. So we wanted to bring you back on. How did it go? How was everything?
Yeah. Thanks for having me back. First off, gentlemen, and it went great. It went. You know, we had about 100 people there. I'll just share some of the highlights. You know, we were able to, and we had representatives from Buckle and David from Paro was there. They both spoke. Gary from Middleton Technologies talked about the Duh app and Maximo, some of the apps that he created. So we had some of that, and then we had a few other speakers that came. Other content creators talked about various topics. You know, free food, beverages, entertainment, had a DJ, did some karaoke. So really grassroots. It felt like, based on what the people were telling me, because I was able to meet and talk to everyone that came, which was awesome. It felt like a family reunion, like a YouTube family reunion. Like people know each other from YouTube, right? Comment sections, alive. Like, you know, you guys have your community here with the rideshare people, drivers. And it felt like a reunion, real low key. Everybody was great. Everybody had a great time. You know, we were able to put 9 independent contractors to work that day. So 9 independent contractors or gig workers, whatever they want to call themselves, were able to work that day and get some cash in their hands. You know, that was great. It was a good event. Everybody had a good time. Definitely the first of others to come. Definitely going to have a second one for sure in the near future, or late spring, early summer of 2023. But it was great. I had a blast. It was better than I anticipated. You know, there was leading up. You don't know what's gonna, you know, things can happen, and you know, we got food delivered. Is that going to be on time? We got this. Is the weather going to hold up? Because we had really bad thunderstorms in St. Louis just 4 or 5 days before. But everything worked out great. Extremely lucky in some ways, but then also really humbled and honored that people came from all over the country, as far as Colorado, New York. Somebody flew in from Florida. So it was a great time.
Oh, wow.
And I'm really looking forward to putting the next one on. So
awesome. Yeah, that's great.
Next one I'll be there, Pedro. Next one I'll be there.
Absolutely can't wait, man. Can't wait.
Yeah,
You know,
same here.
and- yeah, I
As
mean,
long, like I said, as long as it's not that weekend that you did it on,
Yeah.
or the following weekend, I'm pretty much all set. So
Yeah, I could definitely say it's not going to be the last, you know, part of July like this last one was. It'll be earlier than that. Definitely it's not gonna be in St. Louis. It'll be somewhere else, a different city, to allow other people to come and experience a different, you know, it'll be different. You know, it's probably going to be inside. Really looking forward to it. And as there's a few people helping with this, right? As we decide some of the things, you know, there'll be plenty of weeks and multiple months to kind of get ready for it. So really looking forward to it. I think the second one will be different in some ways. You know, you can't replicate the first. When you do something the first time and it's fun, it's like cool, right? But the second one will be even more value to drivers and people in the gig economy, and then also some entertainment and giveaways and things like that. So
awesome.
that's super.
Now, what drivers were there mostly? Was it mostly food delivery? Was it a mix? What do we see there?
Yeah, good. That's a good question. A good mix. I think heavy on food delivery. Seemed like a lot of, 90% of the people that were there have worked or still work for like DoorDash and Uber, the major players, or Grubhub, Instacart. Definitely had some rideshare people there, people that do both. A lot of people that actually, a handful, 6 or 7 that do this gig work and in multiple cities, which is cool. And you get to hear their experiences. Like maybe they live in Atlanta, but they travel a lot and they're just in multiple zones, different cities, learning. And that's couples that do that, and they have a channel. A few couples. So it was really cool to understand and listen to stories of people that do this stuff for different reasons. Because I think a lot of us do it for full-time work, which is fine, right? Most of us do it for part-time, but a lot of people do it to travel, and they get their traveling money from that. And people looked at this conference as a way to go to St. Louis because maybe they'd never been here and they wanted to explore. So it was really, really cool to meet a lot of people, but definitely more on the food delivery side for the people that came over.
Very nice.
So how's food delivery in your city at the moment? Is it slowing down? Is it look, I got on the tail end of that 4-hour marathon live stream you had with I call that guy Mr. Metadata. Yeah, I mean, it's like, I don't know about that one, but so how's food delivery going? I mean, is it slowing down a little bit?
Yeah, for me in St. Louis, it's definitely slower now than it was last summer. Only I can say that only because I'm just seeing less. The phone doesn't go off as much as it used to. The money still can be made because you learn what to do as time goes along, but definitely a little bit slower.
Okay, all right. Yeah. So next time you do one of those with Mr. Metadata, let me come on for like half an hour.
Well, he's gonna come back on. So for those of you that don't know, Sergio is talking about Sin City deliveries. He has a channel. He's out in Vegas. He talks about the perks of being a top dasher and being part of the large order program. I had him on the show because my thought process is the exact opposite of his. So I wanted to allow him to say his experience and share numbers. And, he had a couple of his people that are in his area that are part of that. And they're, they get their Doordash rating up past 70% the last few days of the month. They enter in the next month, and they're a top dasher or whatever that means. None of us really know, I don't think, in my opinion. But and he shared some data, but very small sample size. I think that's what Sergio's getting at. And I thought it was a good conversation because, some of the things he was saying, those are his truths, right? So obviously he's making money and he's satisfied with the money he's making. Like, I think that's what most gig drivers want. We just want to be satisfied, make some profits, right? We want to, this is a show me the money club, right? You want to show me the money. What app's going to show me that I want to make money? Yeah. And he's having some level of success, but my whole thing is, hold up, let's look at the profits. So because, a lot of people can make, let's say $1,000 a week or $500 a week. What are you profiting from that? Because if you have to drive 500 more miles a week than I do, I am making more than you, right? Because my fuel cost is less, right? So it was an interesting conversation, but definitely, Sergio, would love to have you when he comes back on. We're going to do it again in September. Definitely, you can be part of that conversation.
Yeah, I would love to. I mean, not to bust his chops or anything, but to me, it's like I've written about this endlessly about profitability matrix, right? You have to know what they are, and they're the most important thing, honestly. Everybody can come on. Look, you mentioned YouTube and gig tubers or whatever they are, right? Mm-hmm. Honestly, I think that's also getting like super, super top heavy, proliferated. It's like a bubble, honestly, in that one too. But then who knows how many subscribers they get, why they do it. I mean, who knows what the reasons are. But besides that, nobody has the data that this guy says he has. If he's talking to about 3 drivers in Vegas, whatever, works in Vegas stays in Vegas, right? So, to me, it's like, but it's not that. The fight between the ants and the cherry pickers has been going on for the last 10 years. It started with RideShare, and now it's with food delivery and any kind of delivery, right? And, to me, the most important thing is there's many ways to skin a cat. As long as you think you're profitable at the end of the day, I mean, it's okay with me. Whatever you think you do. And, least amount of hours, most amount of money. And the key is to improve. I mean, if you're seeing improvement week after week, I think that's the most important thing. But nobody knows, like you said it on one of your videos, nobody knows the algorithm. Nobody knows.
No,
because
how can we, right?
I mean, one week something will work and next week it will not work. But there are proven things that you teach your delivery people, and I became one of your delivery people. So now, as the master, you're going to judge my numbers.
Well,
And then when-
I'll be honest. So I'm not just gonna tell you
100%.
what you want to hear.
100% honesty is what we're going for.
All right.
I did it for a couple of weeks. Honestly, I'm in the suburbs of LA. Not that busy, but it's not as densely populated as LA. But I loved it. Honestly, I had never done delivery ever.
Was it Uber Eats?
Just Uber Eats, because I'm signed up with DoorDash and Grubhub now, because I figured my utilization was garbage, but my active hour numbers were ridiculous.
You were active a lot. You were active a high percentage of the time that you were on the road.
No, that's the utilization rate, right? So if I was online 30 hours, I was active only 15.
Oh, I see. Got it.
That's because I cherry picked the crap out of it after I watched a couple of your videos, especially no tip, no trip. That one, that one. I did 103 trips last 2 weeks. Okay, all had tips, and my tips averaged more. In 90% of the cases, they average more than the fare itself.
Oh,
this is
that's
last
how you
week.
want it. Yeah. Okay. So can you leave that there? Well, I want to just look as you talk.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So you know the breakdown. So net fare, $266.26. Other earnings I will explain in a second. Tip $331.96. So close to, I don't know, 30% more than my net fares. My total was $665. Online 33 hours, 61 trips. This is last week. So half of it was active, right? 50% utilization rate. On active hour, it was like $40 an hour. On online hour, it was like $20 an hour. But in those online hours, I honestly did not think I was wasting my time. I did all my emails, returned all the phone calls. I was basically running a car office. But the thing that, the previous week to this week, my numbers improved in every category by 40%. So what I did was I figured in my area, a triangle. Each triangle has a cluster of restaurants, and I try to stay within those restaurants. Okay. And the total miles driven, by the way, for this week were 220 miles. So overall, it came to maybe like $3.20 a mile overall, right? Now, on the breakdown, you see other earnings, $67.71, right?
Is that a promotion or Quest or something?
No, they're not. I don't have any of those. Uber shut me up. What those are is, see, this week actually that I'm doing, I'm going to get close to $160. Those are Proposition 22
that's right.
additions.
Got it.
Because food delivery fares are so horrible, like absolutely freaking horrible, that with Prop 22, we get 120% of minimum wage, which is $16.05 in LA, which takes me to $19.20, plus 30 cents a mile. So for this week, if you multiply 16 and a half hours that you see active times $20, let's say, it should be $320. So on the net fare, I should get about a $50, $60 adjustment. Plus the 220 miles I drove times 30 cents, another $65 adjustment. So that's about $130. So if you add the $130 to the 665, I'm close to $800. At $800 with 16 hours active time, I'm close to $50 an hour active, and I would be right about 25 to 26 bucks an hour on online time. I think for the second week, I did amazingly well. And the other thing is, on the right screenshot, this is yesterday.
That's yesterday, yeah.
That's yesterday.
That's a really, really, really strong way to
that's RideShare. That's not food.
Oh, that's RideShare. Okay.
So I went out and just to see how my matrix are going to run, right? Hour and 32 online, hour and 22 active, meaning 90% of the time I have a passenger in the car or going to a passenger. 4 trips, $57. That's about, $45 an hour or whatever on active time, and pretty much the same thing on online time. Now, the reason for that is because RideShare, and this is all in my area. I didn't go to LAX. I didn't take any long trips. It was all short trips. but it was surging like hell. I took all 4 rides were on surge. So my thing is, I love now doing deliveries, but I think deliveries is to me is like a filler, maybe like a filler for my rideshare.
Yes.
But overall, the fact that food doesn't slam your door or ask for an aux cord or throw up in your car or talk back to you, or
that never happens. That never happens. What are you talking
about? Be a backseat driver. None of these things, right? I absolutely loved food delivery. I loved it.
It's way easier. It's way easier.
Yeah, and way easier, less miles, less wear and tear on the car. And honestly, I think for second week that I did it, I figured it out pretty much now. I also figured out the hiding tip on Uber.
Yeah. So what is it for you?
$8.
It is. Yep. Me too. And some people, you know what's funny, Sergio? I just want to say something. Those are good numbers.
After 2 weeks, I figured it out.
Yeah. Those are good. And I've talked about the $8 deal, and I know how to find them on Doordash. Some drivers still think that they don't hide tips but they do. Uber hides tips. Like they hide tips. I've had
out of 103, by the way, at least 15 were like that, and all were hidden tips. I have a screenshot here that he'll put up. Do you see this one here? This one came in as $20.45. Look at the extra tip on it. And then it says, oh, the customer loved you so much they tipped you more. Bullshit. The tip was already in there. They were just hiding it.
Fact. You're 100% right. And sometimes for me in my market, when I see $11 and it's not a lot of miles, it goes up 100% of the time. A few times it's only like a penny or two. Sometimes it goes up $10, but it always goes up. And sometimes even if an offer shows me $16 on Uber, there could be a surge. It could be like going 9 miles. Those go up as well because they're just showing you more of the base pays higher, basically for me. But solid numbers. I think what's interesting is you have the Prop 22 and I don't. So it's almost like if you could figure out a way, and some of it's luck, but if you could figure out a way to be active more, you'll make even more. Still take no tip, no trip. But if you're active more, it sounds like you're going to get more of that extra pay. You know what I mean? But
I figured it out that if you're active more, right? So my active being more is I walk slower to the restaurant. I drive a lot slower. I stop at every stop sign. I follow all the traffic
ways
rules.
And then go.
Yep. I do all that. I extend that, without getting obviously the food cold.
Yeah.
I get it there. But so to me, my utilization has to go up. If I multi-app in a couple of weeks when I get DoorDash and Grubhub, so my utilization will probably go up to 75%, right? And I think that's okay. At the moment, I'm not worried about it. But with the Prop 22 money, $50 on active hour, I think those are like stupid numbers. I loved it. I loved it, bro. It was like, holy crap, man.
No, it's really good. And you know what's funny? You were doing delivery at the same time I started doing more rideshare the last 2 weeks. No
kidding.
Because, and it's just coincidence, but
no, it's not coincidence. I
maybe
converted
not.
you.
Maybe not.
I converted you to rideshare, and you converted me to delivery.
I love, and Chris knows this too. I started with rideshare. I love rideshare. Now, obviously there's caveats. I did some today, right? I did two DoorDashes and 12 Ubers, like one Uber Eats and like 11 Uber X, right? And, you get crazy people in your car, but during the daytime, it's not as bad. But you just, it's definitely, I like it only because I like meeting new people. And in my town, we get a lot of out-of-towners and this and airport runs. And I'm probably not as much as you guys, but we get a decent amount. And it's funny because I've been doing less food delivery and more passengers. But most of the reason I'm doing that is because I've had crazy promotions. Because like not Quest, but like just promotions, like complete 50 extra $100, complete this, and I can easily I average 12 to 15 deliveries or rides a day. So for me, I'm doing the same work, still being selective, right? And they're going to give me an extra $100. That's great. That's a half day's pay for me. So I don't only have to work a half day on Friday, right? So they keep sending me those. I'm going to do them all day.
As long as they show you the money, bro, you got to go take it.
I'm going where the money is.
Because that's why I did an article about a couple of weeks ago, and it's the worst summer I've seen in LA since 2019 when it comes to rideshare. It really is horrible out there, right? They killed the surge. There's no surge. The quests are down to nothing for like 50 cents a ride. So no point doing rideshare. So I said, you know what? A couple of weeks I take off. Let me do delivery. Let me see how this thing is, because everybody talks about it. Honestly, I enjoyed the crap out of it. And then the hours that I was sitting on my ass, I have a little steering wheel desk. I have my laptop. I'm doing my work. I'm writing my article. I'm returning my phone calls. I'm like, hey man, I'm not like being total. I'm not just watching YouTube, right?
Yeah.
So I honestly enjoyed it a lot. Will I continuously do food delivery? I'm going to try it when I get the other apps, multi-app, like you do.
Yeah.
Because I figured out I blackballed a whole bunch of restaurants already. Because first week I would go and wait half an hour. I go, what? I'm dead. But then, see, that's when active time comes into play.
Sure.
In California, you know what I mean? With Prop 22, I go, I'll wait all you want, buddy. I don't mind. I'm waiting here getting paid $20 an hour. No problem.
Yeah, so, I can't wait. I'm too impatient. So I can't do it. I just can't. I don't know.
But you know, once you blackball it, and then by the way, WeZoom, thank you for the $10. And WeZoom does, he's in LA. We're going to feature him on an article coming up on RSG. And he does quite a bit of deliveries in Pasadena. So he taught me a bunch of stuff as well, besides watching your videos. He taught me things called power strips. He goes, you got to stay in this area. You got to do this. You got to do that. I'm like, okay, too much information. So, but I figured it out. And I think I will continue doing it, not as a full-time, obviously, but I will, 220 miles, $660, put in the Prop 22 money. That's $800.
Yeah,
there's not a chance on the planet as a rideshare driver you're going to average $3.5 bucks, $4. It's just not going to happen. You know what I mean? So I'm like, yeah. So
well, I think like you're saying, and this is what I started doing Uber X, and then I got DoorDash, Postmates. Don't do Postmates anymore. And then I was heavy into DoorDash last year, a year and a half ago. Now I just basically what I've been doing the last couple of weeks is I just do DoorDash, Uber Eats, and or Uber X, right? Same app.
Yeah.
And I just do both, and I don't have downtime.
Yeah.
I just, so I know what area to be in. It's good for some good ride shares where there's a lot of population, a baseball game, an airport, a conference, a convention. And then I know what time I want to start my DoorDash because the restaurants are popping. And I'm not sitting in my car for more than 5 minutes, I'd say, is the longest in the last 2 weeks I've sat in my car and not had something I'm going to get money or I have money in the car that I'm taking somebody or I'm taking food. So I just do both of them and it works out for me.
I haven't tried it out yet. I haven't tried out rideshare and delivery on Uber turned on at the same time. That's going to be my next research thing.
Yeah.
The funny thing is that for all the people, by the way, I said this to Chris last week and he was laughing his ass off. For all the people who say Uber does not throttle you, okay? Because I sometimes decline 6, 7, 8 trips, for deliveries in a row. They're trash. They're like garbage. I go, no tip, no trip, this, all that good stuff. And I try to average $11 to $12 an order, by the way, right about that range, right?
Mm-hmm.
So $2, 2 miles, 3 miles, whatever it is. So I declined like 6 in a row on Uber. And I'm in front of this row of restaurants in front of a noodle shop that's like crazy busy, okay? I'm literally in the freaking parking lot of the restaurant. I mean, drivers are coming in and out of there constantly. So I'm going like, what's up? Half hour. I know I'm being throttled. They turned me off. I can tell. So I'm sitting here. I'm like, okay, I got time to move. It's not going to happen. So a couple of weeks ago, they had sent my wife this crazy promo, 10 trips for $150. I said to her, go do delivery, 10 quick deliveries, take their money.
Mm-hmm.
Guess who pulls up into the freaking parking lot to pick up the noodles, bro? My wife.
Your wife.
From freaking 2 miles away, they sent her while I'm sitting in the parking lot with my app on. So whoever says Uber doesn't throttle you, you're fools, okay? They do throttle you. So there you go.
Oh, yeah. That's absolutely hilarious, though. You're sitting there waiting, and
I have a picture.
Oh, hey.
I have a picture.
That's pretty funny.
She pulls in the parking lot. I'm looking at the car. I go, I know this car. And then this is my wife, bro. And then I go, where did they send you from? She goes, I don't know, like 2 miles away. I'm like, what do you mean 2 miles away? I'm in the parking lot. I'm the closest damn driver into the restaurant.
They punished you for not taking the you know, $6 stack going 12 miles, you know?
Yeah,
Like,
it's not happening.
yeah,
Yeah.
there's no money in that. You should never.
FYI, Chris knows this, and you should. Okay. So be careful, by the way, with how many Uber Eats you do versus how many trips you do. How much rideshare you do.
What do you mean?
Okay. So for the first 2 weeks that I did deliveries, right? I took my rideshare quest. It was like 20 or 30 for $100, right? I did all Uber Eats. So they gave me the $100 because Uber Eats, the deliveries go towards the quest. So after 2 weeks, I get an email. I'm doing an article called, "Hey, assholes, where's my flexibility and freedom?" Because it's on my app, right? I can pick Uber X Shared, Uber Eats. I can do whatever I want. Power of the platform. I'm, independent contractor. Today I do Eats. Tomorrow I do delivery. Tomorrow I do rideshare. Guess what? Uber says, "We have recognized that for the last 2 weeks you've done mostly deliveries. No more quests for you for rideshare."
Oh, that's crazy.
They put me on quest jail. So
let me ask you a question, Sergio, and Chris, both you guys. So when you work in Uber, do you on your filters do you have Connect, Uber Eats, and Uber X all on at the same time? So you're seeing all those offers, or do you turn one off?
I turn all of them off except delivery and Connect.
What about you, Chris?
Yeah, I turn off just Uber Eats. So I have Connect, Uber X, and Uber Pet on. Those are the only few that I have access because my car doesn't qualify for XL or Comfort or anything. But yeah,
I do. I keep them all on at the same time.
Well, if you're gonna do like rideshare and that, because when I do rideshare, right, it's so dead and its base rates in LA are so horrible and quests are so low. I decided I'm just gonna do straight up. And then I called Philippines with the roosters in the background. So I tell her, I go, why am I not getting quests anymore? I've been a rideshare driver for 6.5 years. I got quests every damn week for 6.5 years. Mm-hmm. Now some algorithm figured, look at Serge. So, because you know what? I looked at a lot of the receipts. Uber's margins are so razor thin on those.
So thin, yep.
And then when they pay me the quest, they lost money on both weeks on me. You know what I mean? They go up. No more quests for you. I'm like, okay.
I would say in any given week when I'm doing the Uber Eats, I don't do a lot of Uber Eats, but if I have 50, let's say I do 50 in a week.
Yeah.
5 to 10, they're negative. They lose money. On about 5 to 10 of those, there's negative 80 cents, negative $2, what's paid to Uber. And it's just like, that's wild. Like, that person was waiting forever. They had some kind of issue, whatever. Who knows? But it's kind of funny to me when I see that.
No, but I loved it, man. Thanks for turning me on to it. And you know what?
I'm glad you made some good money. It's a good profit.
Bro, I can't $800 a week for 16 hours of work, bro.
It's great.
Come on, does this mean that I got to turn on my Uber Eats now?
You have to do it, bro. You have to do it.
Come to the dark side. Come to the dark side.
You know what? I'll retry it. But look, I first tried it when it came into my area. It was all McDonald's and Wendy's and stuff you had to sit in a drive-through for, and it sucked because those were the only ones that had that were on the app at the time. It wasn't the small mom and pop stores yet. So sitting in line waiting for getting $3.56 plus the promotion that they were offering, which would have been $3 or $4 depending. It just wasn't worth it. So I'm like, I'm not sitting here waiting. When Pedro, I'm like you, I'm like, I want to go.
Yeah.
And yeah, if I was in California as well under Prop 22, sure, I wouldn't care. I'd be like, yeah, give me that money all day long by sitting there. But the problem is I'm not there. So I got to be out hustling more. So for me, if the wheels aren't turning, I'm not making any money. And rideshare clearly was the larger winner at that time. And I just was never turned back onto it. So, after hearing Sergio's thing, I might have to try to put mine on.
And I would recommend, just get the Uber customer ordering app and see where in your area are some good local joints, good menu pricing, and those are the ones that you can kind of be by or a strip or a power strip, like Serge was saying, you learned where there's like 10 of them within like a few miles, because those are going to be typically customers tip better on Uber versus Doordash. So, it's just better. Like the way the app's set up, they could tip more afterwards. Highly unlikely, but it is an option. You can get tip data, but that doesn't happen often either, in my experience. And then just don't mess with the Wendy's and McDonald's and stuff like that, or White Castle or whatever. Do those other ones that are a little bit better, and the money's there for sure.
I was shocked. Honestly, I was shocked. Then I'm thinking, what an idiot! Why didn't I do this during the pandemic? I would have made $2,000 a week, bro. I'm serious. Especially in my area. I mean, it's a middle class, upper end area. Those tips are crazy, bro. I mean, I took a boba, one little glass of whatever the heck it was the other day. That girl paid like $15 just between delivery and tip for like a $5 item. So I'm like, how lazy could you be? Get off your ass and go get it yourself.
No, we need to deliver that to those lazy people. As long as they tip. And I'll say this.
Trip.
I'll say this. Yeah, like even if I was in Cali with the Prop 22, I would still not take a no tip order. And I know some people take them. They're $4 or $5 and they'll wait, and then they'll be in a restaurant for an hour and they made $18 because it turned into $18. I need to make more than $18 an hour for me. That's just me. Everybody has their own price range based on your market and what your goals are. But I would still do no tip, no trip in California because I feel like I'm still leaving money on the table if I take those low ones. So
that'd be the other thing, by the way, on Prop 22. A lot of people think this is like Uber, Lyft, and Doordash. They passed it with $220 million. Everybody thinks they are contributing to this. They are not. On every rideshare, on every trip, Uber in LA County, and it's different in different counties, Uber charges the passenger 75 cents a trip. There's billions and hundreds of millions of trips happening in California, okay? Mm-hmm. And Uber Eats and DoorDash and Lyft, they all charge the passenger for between 40 and 75 cents. So this is a passenger-funded proposition. Uber and Lyft and DoorDash are not contributing to this whatsoever. So I'll bet you 90% of the customers, the Uber Eats customers or Uber rideshare riders, don't even know that they're paying for it. They don't know. Yeah. It's in the receipt, 75 cents. It says California benefits.
Yeah.
I'm like, Uber passed this, but they're not paying for it. I'm like, what kind of
I don't think most people using the apps are looking at the breakdown like we would as drivers. They're just like, hey, I want an Uber X from here to there. Okay, it's going to cost me $40 at whatever it is. It is what it is, right? Some people might complain about it because some of the surges I think are really crazy sometimes. Yeah. But it's part of the game. I don't think most people pay attention to the 75 cents though. Maybe I'm wrong. I don't know.
No, they don't. Obviously don't. But so Uber shouldn't be saying like, oh, we have California benefits. I'm like, no, you don't have shit. You're not putting any of your own money. I don't even know where that money is going, obviously. I don't know. I mean, I'm getting some of it now. For 6 years, I never gotten any California, or the last 2 years that's been around, Prop 22 money ever, because in rideshare, I make $50 an hour. Right. But with food delivery, the base rates being so shit, right? So I'm like, hey, tips are always appreciated. 103. I haven't gotten tip baited yet. I'm sure it's coming around. I'm sure it's happening. It's going to happen. And I'm going to go beat the shit out of that guy.
You can't.
I know where you live, bro.
Save the address.
Anyway, so I loved it. I'm going to do it until, I don't know, as a filler or a part-time. I don't know.
And some people would say, some people think there's like the honeymoon phase when you start something.
Oh, bro.
Like I did Instacart a lot and now I really don't. But in the beginning, it was great. Now I see some, I'm like, So ride the wave, show me the money, and then you move on, But I think using it as a filler is fantastic, especially if you can take advantage of the Prop 22 and the wait time and all that kind of stuff. I mean, why not? So,
yeah. Anyway, Yep. I've become a delivery ant, man. There you go.
Welcome to the club.
I'll keep you posted if I end up going there, and then we can have a little conversation in there.
We have to have a contest between me, Pedro, and you. We'll have to have a contest.
Let's go.
I think Pedro would probably win that one, but then
I don't know. Serge got some good numbers. Yeah, I don't know.
DoorDash. I don't know. I see DoorDash every restaurant I go to. I'm outnumbered by 3 to 1. There's like goddamn so many more DoorDash drivers out there.
Oh yeah, DoorDash is king, man. Yeah.
But they won't let you dash anytime now. So now they're gonna give me like a schedule. They're 2 hours here, 3 hours there. I'm like, God damn, I go, Uber Eats, you just click on and you go anytime, anywhere you want, bro. I'm like, hey man. See, there you go.
We got Harry in the house.
Dash now when it's busy.
Harry Campbell's here.
What's up, Perry?
Ooh.
All right. Well,
Not-
any last things when it comes to the rideshare food delivery debate?
Right now,
Last-
rideshare is shit. Delivery is good. That's it. In LA anyway. In LA. So
And I
yeah.
would say in my St. Louis market right now, if I had to make a quick $100 tomorrow, let's just say,
Yeah.
I would probably do rideshare only
There
because
you go.
yeah. So, but that's just
So it changes, right?
It
changes.
changes. Markets can change. Them, people and what they want can change. I think you have to really learn your market, and you have to understand what's happening this week in St. Louis. Okay, I got 3 home baseball games. I got a convention downtown. I got this. I got that. That's follow the money. So.
Yep.
Oh, by the way,
That's right there.
you should talk about this on one to do a video on this. A lot of people go, oh, I see you guys do the live, DoorDash or Uber Eats, right? A lot of channels do it, ride along kind of a thing. They go, oh, look, $10, 5 miles, $2 a mile. No, sir, that's not $2 a mile. First of all, if that $10 to 5 mile ride is going to take you somewhere that you have to dead mile back to your power strip, you got to figure those miles in because you're not getting paid for miles. So I think that's doing like quite a bit of an injustice to people who watch. So for when I did it the first week, amateur, didn't know what the hell was going on. I go 5 miles this way. There are no goddamn restaurants the way I went. So now 4 miles I have to drive back to get back to my power strip. Well, what happened to those miles, right?
Yep.
But over time, efficiency. So please, gig tubers, when you go, oh, look, 2 miles, $5 or this and that. No, it's not. You have to do some dead miles to get back to, where the restaurants are. So, Dashers or Uber Eats drivers drive a lot more miles than they say they do. On active time, maybe they don't. Like TomTom says, I average $2 a mile. Bro, I average $4 a mile. Doesn't matter. That's not the point. How many dead miles you have in there, right? But the best thing was I stayed within literally 8 miles of my house. I was never. If I did rideshare, bro, man, I'd be going to San Diego. I'd be going to downtown. I'm dead in traffic. I'm like, I loved it. It was like great. So there you go. Uber Eats.
Nice. Happy to hear it.
I got a Harry's comment. This is a personal account. I won't let him use the RideShare account.
I saw that. That's pretty funny.
Man, dude. You know what? Though that actually would go perfect into the next topic, and the whole thing with upfront earnings coming to Uber and several markets now. That's one of the biggest things that I've been seeing, whether it's on Facebook comments, wherever I'm looking. A lot of people are complaining about how rate rebalancing is lowering the payout. And, there's probably a lot more to it. And Sergio and I are kind of trying to figure out some ways that we can, actually get real data and figure it out ourselves. So we are going to be, doing a couple of different tests and going through that. But one of the big things is rate rebalancing says that they will give you higher earnings for shorter rides, and then it rebalances by giving you lower earnings for longer rides compared to the old model. And then Lyft is also test piloting upfront pay, which is exactly like Uber, and upfront trip details, which we're going to kind of go into a little bit more. We have a little bit more information on that in just a moment. But one of the things that we should talk about is how long is too long for a ride, whether it's a rideshare, whether it's a food delivery, especially with upfront earnings, with rate rebalancing. How far would you say is too far now at this point that you're either losing money on the ride because of rate rebalancing, both on Uber and Lyft, as well as deadhead miling back? So Pedro, let's start with you. Have you kind of figured that out or thought about that now that you have upfront earnings and also doing a little bit more rideshare?
Yeah. So for me with the rideshare, I look at it 2 ways. If I have a really good promotion or something like that, I like to have my total miles, like getting to the pickup and then drop off, to be like 4 or 5. I do a lot of short runs, and those will typically pay me between $6 and $10 or $12, right? So I like to do those. And if I can do 3 of those an hour, I'm over $30-$35. I'm good with that for me. But there are many times, if I see a $40, doesn't happen often, or maybe like a $30 trip going 18 miles to the airport, I'll take it because I'll take that. And then the likelihood of me getting a pickup from the airport going in a direction I want to go is very high. So then I can turn that 30 into another 10, another 15, another $20 and do that in an hour. So I don't get those often, maybe once a day. So I don't mind driving the miles, especially if it's highway and if it's an airport run. Or if I happen to be 10 miles or 15 miles away from home and I'm towards the end of my day, I'll take a longer run going back to my home area. I'll do those all day because I have to drive those miles anyway. But typically I like to keep my miles really low. Like Sergio was saying, keep to that 8-mile radius or whatnot. Like that's what I like to be because that's where I can be most profitable and efficient. But I'll definitely take some long runs if they're highway. I'll definitely do that.
Okay, nice. And then is there anything where you say, oh, that's going to be too far, or that's not worth my time? Is there anything specific that you're looking at?
I don't go. So in St. Louis, where the Mississippi divides us, the Missouri and Illinois, right? So downtown where the Arch is at, a lot of good money can be made there. But Uber would try to send me to like Cahokia or Collinsville, Illinois, 15, 20 miles out. I don't do those runs because in my past life, when I was doing a lot of Uber rideshare, I could end up in Illinois and it sends me another 20 miles and I'm in Mount Vernon. I'm an hour away from home. Yeah, I made a little bit of money, but the likelihood of getting a trip out there coming back to St. Louis is not usually that high. Yeah. So then I'm basically doubling my miles and then I'm not really making money on that. So,
yep.
So I don't go that far. So.
Okay. I'll share mine in a second.
I try to stay in my area, bro. I set my DF, and Kyle, you know what I'm talking about. I try to stay in the hot zone as long as I can because it's surging there constantly. No more quests. Okay, no problem. Yesterday, I don't have any more quests. I go out, literally stayed within 8 miles of my house, did 4 trips, $60 almost in an hour and a half. I'm done. So to me, your strategy of the old days when we had the multiplier, surge multiplier, trips were being extended on my end constantly, right? So if I got a 10-mile LAX trip, I can go to LAX in LA 4 different ways. One is 10 miles, one is 15 miles, one is 20 miles. And depending on who is in the room, that at 2.5x, you can bet your butt that it's going to be a 20-mile ride to LAX, okay? So, and, without delaying the passenger. Now, if the time was like so horribly worse, then I'm not going to hurt the passenger because they're dealing with this time-sensitive issue. Mm-hmm. But, nowadays, driving long distance doesn't make sense whatsoever at all. Like if you have a decent quest like Pedro had, let's say 50 trips for $100, which we have not seen in LA for like more than 3-4 months now. Yeah, I knock out shorty after shorty after shorty and stay between, let's say, Santa Monica, if you people know LA, Santa Monica and West Hollywood. That's where all the rides are. Knock out at least 3, if up to 5 per hour. And then finish my quest, take their money, hopefully they'll be with Surge. Because with base rates at 60 cents a mile, it doesn't make sense to drive 50, 60, 80 miles to take somebody somewhere with no hope of return. Okay? None. Zero.
All right, hold on, pause real quick. Lenny just commented saying something that let people be aware merchants have the ability to keep part of the tip amounts in their system. So have either of you heard that? Because I haven't.
Yeah, so I can kind of talk to that real quick. So yeah, I've talked to merchants about this. So what happens is, and DoorDash has even actually sent out, responded to this publicly. So with either DoorDash or Uber, if Chris goes right now to a local pizza joint, goes to their website and orders 5 pizzas and tips $50, let's just say, right? He leaves a nice tip. It's $200 worth of pies. He's happy, right? Nice tip. That restaurant then can use the third-party app, whether Uber, Grubhub, DoorDash, to facilitate that delivery. And they can take that $50 tip and disperse it how they want to with their staff or the driver. They can manipulate that. Now, if the order is placed on Uber's website or DoorDash's website, the merchant can't do it at that point. But if it's placed on the merchant's website, they can look at that and finagle that money. I've seen it before.
Oh, so if I order pizza on, let's say, Pizza Hut's website, and I order 10 pizzas, right?
Yeah. Yes.
And then they aggregate that order through Uber Eats for delivery.
Yes.
And if I tip generously on their website, they can keep the tip and not.
Yes.
Oh,
yes.
that's not
So
good.
you guys have we have a company called Panera or Breadco. I don't know what you guys call it. Panera probably.
Yeah.
We call it Breadco because it started in St. Louis, so we call it St. Louis Bread Company. They're the number one offender of this or whatever, because they'll get big catering orders on their website, or people will call them in or whatever, big corporations, right? Like $400 or $500 orders, and it'll be like $100 tip, and they can actually decipher that tip. It says it on the receipt. So if you're a driver and you pick it up, it actually says it on the receipt. We could, the tip can be given to anybody in, they could do what they want with the tip, and they might give the driver $50, which is great. I'll take the $50 to go a few miles. I don't care. But the other 50 might be going to the wait staff at the Panera. So, yeah.
Okay. So Pedro, what is your opinion? What is your opinion of clowns, Pedro?
What are we changing subjects already? What are you talking about?
I don't know, man. No, because I didn't know. See, I didn't know about. I learned something now. I didn't know about this tip thing. And then and so what happens to that food? But I mean, I'm really curious. When I've been doing this delivery thing for 2 weeks, I turned down all these orders, right? Well, somebody's doing these orders. Somebody is doing it. I mean, they're not going like sitting there. You know what I mean? Somebody's taking these $2-3 orders.
Yeah,
who's doing it?
I think this is who's doing it, right? It's new people, right? Because they don't know, they're uninformed yet. They don't understand. They're excited because I got a ping on my phone. I remember when I first started with like Postmates specifically, or even with Uber, I was just kind of taking everything because I was like, all right, okay, it's $3. Okay, it's going a mile. I guess I'll take it. That's the best. Can they tip after? Can they not? So I think it's new, uninformed people, and it's also some people that are just doing it for pocket change. They're doing it just to have fun. A lot of people dash or do Uber Eats, and they do it with their husband or wife on a date night. They're just spending a couple hours together. The kids are at a movie, and they're just taking stuff and the money's not a big thing. There's some people that do it like that. I was sent an article today. I did a video that'll come out tonight. A guy he made $30 and he put $30 in his gas can. He didn't make any money. He made like 36 cents in profit. And he said he did 8 deliveries and in 4 hours. So he's doing 2 deliveries an hour and made $30. Like, he's an uninformed driver. He doesn't know. He just doesn't know any better yet. And I think there's a lot. I think in my opinion, the YouTube community and the people in Reddit and Facebook, I think we're the minority. I think most drivers take a majority of the things that hit their phone. So that's who's delivering the bad orders, in my opinion. So.
Okay. Well, I will always be a cherry picker, so that's it.
Sergio, you got to remember there's a lot of people who are ants on RideShare, and they'll take everything that's given. It's the same thing on food delivery or these last mile deliveries. So it definitely happens. It's there's probably very few people comparatively that do cherry pick, and the three of us definitely are versus probably the mass. So. And I'm sure people watching, picking up details and stuff like that definitely help.
So Chris and Pedro, do you guys think Uber did this upfront fair thing, knowing that probably 75% of drivers are ants and they're going to take it anyway? Is that why? Is it really? I mean, because to me, it's like they're giving up something that they haven't given up for 12 years. Now they go, here's the destination. Now go ahead and look at it. We don't care. We don't worry about it. We have so much info on you that we know you've taken 99% of your trips. You've accepted it. So without fear, we're going to show you the destination because we think you're going to continue and you're not going to switch from being an ant to a cherry picker. Maybe that's why they're doing it. They go like, we don't care. You're going to accept it anyway.
Yeah, I it could be that. I don't know. I think a lot of people that do this work just don't really look at their numbers like some of us do. I think a lot of people that do it are doing it very part-time. They're doing it for just 1 month. Maybe they're doing it for a couple of months. I think it's a very high turnover line of work that we're in. And I think a lot of people are just like, I just need to make $500 this month to take care of my car note or take care of my bill or to do this. and they get to that 500, but they really didn't make 500 because they spent a lot of time or a lot more gas, and then they're still just spinning their wheels trying to figure out why they're not making money. And I think a lot of people fall into that, and that's why I try to educate and inform, like, hey, you're going to be better off if you're a little patient. No tip, no trip. I believe it. It's not a personal thing. It's just like you can't make money if you take too many $2, $3, $4 orders. You just can't. But I think some people are just like, I just need to get to this amount, and I don't care how long it takes me. I just got to make my $100 today. Whereas I try to tell people, you know what? In a lot of markets, you might be able to make that in 4 or 5 hours instead of 8. So why not? Why not? Don't you want your 3 hours back? You know, that's kind of where my mind goes. But to each their own. So.
Chris, one second. One second. Cynthia J. There's a question. I can help her with this one. What can you do as a driver when they throw you rides? This happens more on Lyft than Uber. Uber at least has the courtesy to ping you with a ping, as opposed to Lyft going, oh, we just added a ride to your queue. You don't know where it is, where it's going, how much it's going to pay. We just added it anyway. So, and you don't have an idea where you're going. Okay, how do you cancel those rides? You don't have to, those don't count towards your cancellation. You go to your app, you swipe up, you will see the next passenger, and there's a plus or minus sign right next to it. You can remove them from your queue. Better yet, if you don't want to get stacked, after receiving a trip and putting the passenger in your car, go to your app, click on this, I want this to be my last ride. You can do that for Uber and Lyft as well, and you will not get stacked. So there you go.
Yeah, Lyft does that pretty bad, but and then the at the beginning too, like when you're going to a ride, and then they'll just be like, "Oh, we're switching the ride and going somewhere else." So annoying. It's like, I just came from there. You know, you could have given me that, and I would have been all right. But now, RideShare Lisa says, check the ride that came through the app, check the rate card against, and it was definitely lower. Lisa, send me the screenshots. Text me those.
Can you mention that, by the way, to send me all these screenshots with the upfront stuff that they're pulling now?
Oh yeah, we'll get right into upfront.
Yeah.
First, we're gonna have a big upfront earnings, upfront pay live stream coming in a couple of weeks. There's a couple of things that Sergio and I want to do to kind of try to get some information, better, educate ourselves, or try to figure out the algorithms a little bit better, to see what's going to be better and more worth it for drivers out there. Especially because it's going to affect probably just about everybody. Rate cards are pretty much going away. So Lisa, that you could have compared it to your rate card, but now that we have upfront pricing as of a week and a half ago or 2 weeks ago now, there is no more rate card. They just basically give you the price and say, hey, do you want to take this ride or not? There's no more rate card. So
can you guys tell me what a rate card is?
What you get paid per mile and minute.
Yeah. Oh, rate card. Okay, I just hadn't heard that terminology before. So
okay, but right. I mean, like, so when you accept a ride in St. Louis now, right?
Yeah.
So you see an upfront price. You look at your miles that you're going to go to pick up, to deliver, or not deliver, but if you're doing RideShare to the destination, right? You figure out, okay, it's $2 a mile or whatever. So in the old days, before upfront pricing, there was, just like cabs, per mile and per minute, there's a time and distance component. So in LA, in California, we still have rate cards. So rate card meaning in LA, figure this out, 60 cents a mile, bro, for Uber X. 60 cents a mile and 21 cents a minute. Where in LA, literally 3 miles could take 45 minutes, okay, in rush hour traffic.
There's no,
okay, you just go nuts. You go crazy, you know what I mean? And so that, I'm sure you used to have a rate card, like, as a driver. Maybe now they have all the upfront stuff that they're pushing with.
I see like a lot of my things today where it will say like 882, because Uber's always weird with the little sentence, 882. I'm 0.8 miles away from the address where they're at, and it's going to be another 3 miles, and I'll just take that. It's like $2 a mile, a little over $2 a mile. It's quick. It leaves me in a very densely populated area, and I'll take those all day long. So
but you apply the same strategy you apply to your
pretty much,
to your food delivery, right? I mean, you don't want this person to go take you 10 miles out of town where there's not going to be any trips, right?
Right.
So honestly, I figured, between delivery and RideShare, there are quite a few similarities.
Yes.
And that, you know, you don't want to end up somewhere you don't want to be. You know,
Yeah.
you want to minimize the dead miles, you know. So
I also numerous times a day I turn down a really good fare if it's leaving me in maybe not an area of town I don't want to be in. Maybe it's unsafe or it's historically you might get issues from those passengers, bad ratings, long wait times. Like, yeah, I stay away even if the miles are good, money's good. You know, if you're taking me 10 miles north in a bad area, but it's paying me $30, I will actually turn that down a lot of the times because it's just I don't want the headache or the possible headache, right? Because I've done it before, and I like to drive stress free if I can. So I stay out of certain areas as well for my safety mostly. So.
Yeah, that's one of the good things about having the upfront earnings and knowing, or the map knowing where you're going. That's definitely a very good thing because, you know, some of the things that we have, like, you know, I like driving at night, and, you know, I do a lot of the bar stuff. So if I'm driving in Allentown or Elmwood, which are busier bar districts in Buffalo, you know, you get one that's going 35, you know, minutes or 40 minutes away. Sure, it might be great if it's going to where you want to go to another busier area, but if it's not and it's going into the middle of nowhere, then it's like I don't want to take that because, you know, it's screaming red downtown, but, you know, elsewhere you're just going to deadhead somewhere else. So yeah, it's definitely great that you can make those decisions. But then, you know, beyond that, you also got to say, okay, what's my goal for today? Where am I going? What do I need to do? You know, kind of have to set that up. And, you know, answering the question from earlier, you know, for me, when I go out, and, you know, how long is too long, maybe, you know, I got to look at what my goal is personally for that. Do I want to stay close? Do I want to, you know, just drive and try to make money? You know, there's different ways that I'm going to look at it. So I think sometimes it's going to be case by case, but yeah, when you start, you know, with this rate rebalancing, you know, once you find that teetering point where anything less than that, you're making more versus, you know, taking anything that's longer than that. Because I don't want to lose money. You know, I was getting paid, you know, even more before this whole change, and then all of a sudden they shift it and switch it, and now if I take, you know, something that's 8 miles or 8 minutes or whatever it might be after, and that's like the teetering point, well, then I wouldn't want to take anything after that unless it's going to a specific area that I want to head to.
I mean, you know, the three P's, right? It's patience, position, and planning. Without those three P's, I don't care what you do, you're not going to be successful. You have to have patience. You cannot accept every ping. You have to position yourself correctly, which I believe it's more you know, important in food delivery than actually rideshare, because there is so much more rideshare demand than food delivery. Food delivery being, you know, breakfast, lunch, and dinner kind of a thing in between, right? So rideshare is all over the place at all times of the day. So, you know, position yourself correctly and you plan your day. I mean, you know, it's not by the dollar amount you plan your day. I want to make $100 today. You plan your day. Where do you want to be? Where do you want to end up? What is this ride's purpose for you? You know, instead of playing checkers, you got to play chess. You just got to think 2-3 steps ahead. Yep. Okay, so this trip is taking me from Santa Monica to here. Well, what is there, right? What's my next move from there, right? As opposed to, oh, now I'm stuck 80 miles away from home base. Now what do I do? And just use one of my useless destination filters and hope I hit the lottery and get back home. You know what I mean? It doesn't work like that.
No, I think you just said it perfectly. The checkers, you got to play chess versus checkers because, you know, in St. Louis, I'm real lucky. I have 4 zones, like for Doordash per se, right? Because with Uber, the one thing I love is, like Sergio said earlier, you just turn it on, go wherever. But I have 4 zones that are really kind of close, and there's like 3 highways I can zoom. So I might get the other day I did a $17 10 mile on Doordash. It only took me 20 minutes to complete from beginning to end because I walked in, they had it, boom, couple turns. I'm on the highway. It's mostly highway miles. I get off the highway. I go down like 0.5. I'm good. But I knew where it was leaving me in a zone that I knew was going to be red. I knew I could end my dash and dash again in that other zone. And there was, you know, 40 different things around me within a few miles. So I took that $17 because I knew I could do that 17. 20 minutes. Like, it took about 40 minutes to make another $20 very easily. I can do that. And so for me, one of the biggest things is, and I try to tell drivers, where does it leave you? You guys have both mentioned that today. Where does that rideshare leave you? Where does the food delivery leave you? Because that's that's your second, third, and fourth move. We can't just think about the one move. You got to think a little bit ahead. So the chess analogy is spot on in my opinion. So
I mean, you say you play a lot of basketball. You want to teach basketball. I watch one of your videos. You can't play basketball with what happened 30 seconds ago. You got to play basketball with what's going to happen 30 seconds from now, right? You read your players, your chemistry you have with them. It's the same thing in RideShare. I mean, yesterday morning, when I was doing RideShare, I exactly knew where I wanted to be. I dictated the algorithm to feed me exactly the rides that I wanted to be. And I know where it's going to surge, and I just kind of sit there and collect the surge. Otherwise, the algorithm is going to send me to probably somewhere there is no surge. And what's the point of doing that? I mean, you got to make the most money in the least amount of time. But, a lot of people don't put thought into this, and then they just kind of go, I don't make any money. I'm like, yeah, you don't make any money because you're just not putting any thought into it. Just put some thinking into it. It's not that hard, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But,
All right, so let's move on to Lyft because we're talking about Uber for a little bit. Let's go to Lyft because they're testing out 2 upfront. They're the younger, they're the little tree who doesn't get enough sun because they're in an Uber shadow. So they're copying yet again. They actually are doing something that's a little bit different, which is pretty unique. So they're doing 2 different types of, upfront trip details and upfront pay. So let's get into the upfront trip details. And then as I'm going through this, take a look at the 2 different offerings that they're having. And they're piloting these in different markets. We're not really sure where yet fully, but this is actually in my market right now for the upfront trip details. So the big thing that we want to know, what would you like better? So let us know in the comments after we go through these 2 different models. Now that I've actually been on Lyft and been able to use this a little bit, it's a little easier to understand. So for upfront trip details, essentially what you see on the right of the screen there is what you get right now. So if you have a 50% or higher acceptance rate, then you will get this upfront trip details. So this is tied directly to your acceptance rate. This doesn't have to do with upfront pay. You're still getting the same rate card. Everything's the same there. The only difference is you get a map showing you where the pickup and where the drop off is going to be, as well as how far away each thing is. So, how long the trip is, how far they are to pick up. So you can make a little bit more informed decision. So this is the first way that they're doing it. And like I said, this is something that's in a couple of markets right now that they're piloting. What do you think about this particular one so far?
I like this one. It's better than what they had for ants only. Only top ants used to see 10 minutes northwest, as if they knew where northwest was, to be honest with you. But I was like,
any general direction.
Yeah, any general direction is good. I'm just going to accept 99.9% of my trips. I mean, you know what? In all of this with the upfront, by the way, and for Uber and Lyft, I feel bad for the ants. I really do. All that work they put in, all the thousands of hours and millions of miles, accepting every trip, every garbage ping Uber and Lyft sent them. They accepted it to be this diamond this and platinum that and this and that. Bro, I was blue for, 6.5 years, and I was totally content with it. So what do these people do now? Don't they feel like they got stabbed in the back by Uber and Lyft, right? Because look, I had to keep a 90% acceptance rate. I had to get an extra destination. I saw the passengers' general direction, all the stuff I did for Uber. Now Uber says, you don't need to be an ant. You just see the destination. Everybody sees whatever. I'm like, I would feel like horrible. I would feel bad if I was an ant. This is okay. It's not as good as Uber's. Uber actually not only shows you the map, but it also gives you cross sections of cross streets of where you're picking up or you're dropping off. Yeah, I mean it's better than before. Better than before.
But beyond California, because you're in a special district right now, going outside of California with rate rebalancing, with getting rid of the rate cards, it's a different story because that's what Uber's doing. Lyft is also doing that, and I'll show you in screenshots in a minute. But I do want to hear what Pedro's thoughts are on upfront trip details.
I mean, for my selfish reasons, I love it. I remember when I've never done Lyft. I want to say that, I've never done that, but like I could remember when Uber, sometimes it would just say, I remember the screen, it'd say like Uber X 5 minutes or 5 miles, and that's telling me how far I am from. But I have no idea where they're going.
Mhm.
I have no idea. I just don't know where they're going. Part of town I don't want to be in. Maybe it's towards the end of my shift. Do I want to end up an hour and a half away? Like I got to come back. Like, so I think as drivers, for many reasons, we should know where we're going and be able to make that informed decision. So I think it's great.
Mhm.
I sometimes wonder why they do it. Is it just, are they really listening to drivers, or is it not enough people are getting picked up and they think, well, let's show them more in hopes that more people will accept orders and offers? I don't know, but I think it's a good thing. I think we should have as much information that's available that the algorithm knows that should be shown to the driver, whether it's a driver, a shopper, a food delivery person, and then we can say yes or no, and then that's it. I think sometimes the companies make it more difficult than it needs to be.
Yeah. Well, good. I like that. But going on, so as you can see, Lyft is also testing upfront pay, which is essentially the same exact thing as what Uber's upfront earnings is.
Yeah.
So this is, getting rid of the rate card. So you look on the right, it says upfront pay makes earnings simpler by removing the guesswork, so you'll know where it is beforehand. So it's very similar. Even moving on to the next screen, so you can see how it's different. So basically, it looks like it's almost word for word from Uber.
Yeah.
So it's this one is not tied to acceptance rate. So everything changes. It's just like Uber's upfront earnings. The other one is tied only to acceptance rate, where rate cards stay the same. So there's no rate rebalancing. There's no, let's like finagle the price maybe between drivers. Driver A might get price 1 while driver B gets price 2. When it comes to trying to figure out who's going to take the ride. There could be a lot of things that they could do individually, or even market by market, where they could be like, oh well, everybody's accepting the rides. Let's lower that a few cents, and they're going to just do it a little bit at a time until you look at it. You're like, I'm getting paid peanuts. So I think that could be part of what they're doing. I don't know. Like I said, we're gonna really try to do a deep dive onto this. But yeah, as you can see, so this is upfront pay. So this is a little bit different. So I want to ask you guys, what would you like better? Would you like something that's going to show you the pay up front, kind of not necessarily with the rate card, or time and mileage, where it's going to be no acceptance rate, you're going to get it no matter what, like upfront pay? Or would you rather see upfront trip details, where you are only tied to an acceptance rate of 50%, and maybe it could be finagled depending on different. Somebody I thought I saw, they said 30% in their area. So what are your thoughts? What would you like better? And then people who are watching, let us know what you think is better too.
I don't know. I like what Uber is doing, right? Show me everything, make I'll make my own decisions. As long as it, like, again, I am pretty sure it's going to come with, quiet timeouts and things like that. If you, decide not to accept 4, 5, 6, 8, 10 in a row because they're garbage trips, right? I'm sure they're going to throttle you. All kinds of good things are going to happen. But, let's just call it the way it is. It's show me everything. Let me make my own prudent decision. I don't hide anything from me. If I don't take it, I don't take it. I'll just won't make any money that day, because that means, according to the Uber CEO, right? He said, that means we're mispricing rides. I'm like, you've been mispricing rides the whole freaking time, 12 years now. But that's besides that, Lyft, look, man, I'm telling you, I honestly, Lyft, I don't know how it exists. I do Lyft. I did a Lyft ride this morning. I did a scheduled ride this morning. I like their scheduled rides. I know where I'm going. I know where I'm picking up from. I know how much it's going to pay. So put it all out there. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But
I like Uber. I like what I see in my Uber screen, because I can make a really good informed decision. And the only thing, like I said, I've never done Lyft, but it's not hard to, like, okay, yeah, you're telling me this many miles. I can probably, when I used to have the Uber, when I was doing Uber like 2 years ago, before I saw everything, I knew about, okay, that's a $10 run, right? And then I can make a decision. But at the end of the day, I should be able to just look and say, oh, it's $5. I'm good. Nah, I'm good. or it's $10, I'll take it. It's 20. We should be able to see that. And I think acceptance rate, I think that's just a way for them to manipulate drivers because the turnover is so high with these companies. And, we're so like, I want to have good ratings. Well, you know what? Like that's subjective. And, and some would say a good rating is like 5 stars on DoorDash, 20% acceptance and 100% completion, 100%. That's a good rating. To me, I think if you take too many orders overall, that's bad, right? For yourself, right? So I think I'd rather just acceptance rate. To me, I think they hold that over some drivers' heads because they just want to manipulate us, and that's how I feel about it. So that's why I don't ever
guiding
worry
hand.
about that. Yeah. I mean, my acceptance rate on Uber, I think, is like 8%. It's even worse on Uber than it is on DoorDash because I see a lot of really low Uber Eats, or I see a lot of really bad, Uber X's. So. I cancel. I think my cancellation rate is 7% on Uber right now. So I don't mind canceling and just moving on. So those for me, like the one in the middle. That's what I used to see all the time. The one on the right, 10 minutes away.
That's something we need to. I'm going to talk about it because you know what the driven mom. Hey Tony, if that's Tony, but that's Tony's wife, maybe.
It is. Yes.
Look what it says here. I should have all the information without strings attached. Right? That's the comment. That's the important thing.
Yeah.
So this is me yesterday morning, first day of schools opening up in LAUSD. Of course, that's my pin up there. I set my DF right through the Red Sea. I want to go max 10 miles, make me $50-$60 in an hour and go home.
Yeah.
And my DF is special DF, so whoever knows. Anyway, so I turn my app on. It's 7:41 right there on the time, right? I turn my app on. Now, on the first screenshot, do you guys see where it says 0 out of 10? Right? Now, in California, Upfront comes with penalties for us. Not to the rest of the country, apparently, but in California, we have penalties. I have to accept 5 of the last 10 trips, not 50% acceptance rate. Last 5 out of the 10 trips to see upfront details of the passenger. Well, yesterday morning when I turned my app on, there is also something called Trip Radar now that they're unleashing throughout the country.
Yep.
Guess what these garbage pings are? The one in the middle screen is a Trip Radar trip from 15 minutes away, 6.3 miles away with a 375 surge. And 3 people are watching it. You can see by looking at the eyeball. The eyeball shows 3. There are 3 people watching it. Well, guess what happened? Yesterday morning, I turned my app on with 7 out of 10 with the upfront fares, seeing the upfront fares. The first 2 they threw at me, I declined. Then they threw at me another one. I declined. Now I'm blind. I don't know what the heck is going on. I don't know where I'm going. And then my screen was full of this garbage. 15 minutes away, 10 minutes away. By the way, look at these. 13 minutes away. Now I'm blind. I don't even know, right? And the problem with the Trip Radar, right? Okay, so like the one on the right, okay, I may do it. It's 875 surge, but 6 miles away. I'm not going to take that. I don't want it. I'm sitting right here in the middle of the Red Sea. But what happens with the Trip Radar is it will show up on Trip Radar. And if you don't take it or turn your app off fast enough, and I wrote about this, they will ping you with the damn thing, bro. And then what happens to my 5 out of 10? It goes to 4 out of 10, 3 out of 10, 2 out of 10, and then it became 0 out of 10. So I'm blind, driving blind now. You know, I agree with Tony's wife and
the driven mom. Yeah, the
driven mom. Yeah.
Right.
It should come with no restrictions. Why do we have restrictions in California? I don't understand. Like all of you guys have like decline all you want, no problems, no AR restriction. We have an AR restriction. I know why we have it, but that's not the issue. The issue is, you know, yesterday morning, they threw all the garbage pings at me. I didn't take them. I still ended up making $60 for an hour and a half because I had set my DF properly and I just cut right through the Red Sea, went 7 miles, came back 7 miles, and I was done. But I think this Trip Radar, you guys better be really careful about this thing. If you do see one of these things pop up in the middle of your screen and I'm telling you, there is a 90% likelihood that they're going to ping you with that garbage that somebody else passed on. Okay, so
you know what's interesting that you bring up the trip radar. In the last 2 weeks, on my screen, I hear like a little notification, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it's at like the bottom middle of my phone. I have to hit it, and then I'll see them, and I'll see some good ones in there, and I'll try to accept it.
Not fast enough.
And then it says matching.
Yeah.
And sometimes I'll get them, but most of the time,
somebody else
got
got it.
It's because it'll say like 2 or 3 eyeballs are watching it. So I wonder, like, because there are times there was yesterday, I think, or the day before, I saw a really good one, $18. I think it was like 3 miles combined. I was like, "Ooh, I want that! Like, give me that!" Right? And it was just matching, and then it finally, went away. I didn't get it, but
you have to have a quick trigger finger on those.
You gotta. Oh, it's like Instacart. Like Instacart, the same way you see an offer on Instacart, you have to accept it so quick, otherwise it goes away. It's very similar.
I did the article like 2 months ago on this one. You know what I call trip radar, Pedro? I call the whack-a-mole. You know when you go to the
you gotta hit it fast.
Whack, you gotta whack it really fast, bro. If you don't fast it, if you're not fast enough, that's gone. The good one is gone.
Swipe.
That's
no surprise. Trip radar came with unlimited upfront destinations, because there's going to be a lot of rejected rides, and all those rejected rides have to go somewhere. They're just going to shuffle it, reshuffle it until some ant takes it. And I'm like, they want to keep the rides in the system, right? And some may fit your bill, some may be going to where you want to go. But yesterday morning, there were no drivers in my neighborhood. You could see the surge, right? Bleeding surge, 10, 12, 15, $20 everywhere. And they send me trips from 6-8 miles away. So why is that happening? Because number one, there's no drivers. There's a driver shortage, obviously. And number two, all the people in my area rejected those rides, and then now I'm being reshuffled and being shown to me. Like, why would I take an 8-mile away trip when my destination that I said is less than 8 miles? I'm like, not going to happen.
Right. Yeah, it's weird. I think, for me, I think that we should be able to see all of it, but these companies aren't going to do that. They want to, like with you, I think, if they're saying, we got to accept 50% of your rides to see upfront, information. I remember that was happening, started a couple months ago, I think. And it's just because it's just a way for them to say, okay, hold up. Now I know I just declined 4, so I got to accept this next one. It's just a way to manipulate the drivers to take more fares. And I get it. They're a company. They want their customers serviced. I totally understand that. I really, really do. But I think, we're speaking to drivers, right? We want people to make actual money and be profitable and know your worth and things like that, and have control what you can control. But the apps will control you if you will let them. If you allow them to, they will. And that's on you. I really strongly believe that. And, we have to do a better job of just knowing your worth and saying, I don't need to take that. I don't want to take that. I'll be patient. And sometimes if it's really slow, we've had a bad day, or it's 2 p.m. and the lunch rush is over, maybe you take your minimum down a little bit or whatever. I think that's normal, right? But like, if it's lunchtime or if it's popping in your city, like, you got to accept good orders. You got to take good fares, like that's the only way to make money.
Yeah. I mean, I said this 1,000,000 times before, as much as the drivers don't think they're in charge, we're in charge, man. It was obvious yesterday. Why is it surging? Not enough drivers, not too many people taking trips. What would have happened if we all at the same time in my little San Fernando Valley turned our apps off exactly at 7 a.m. for about 15 to 20 minutes? What would happen to Uber's system? It will collapse, bro, because the demand is coming in. It will collapse. Literally, it would collapse. So if all drivers
just turns the app on and ding.
Yeah, it would collapse. I'm telling you, no customers will be served, and we'll be in charge, and it'll be surging $50. But unfortunately, us drivers, we don't stick together. We got to stick together. Delivery, rideshare, whatever you're doing, you're in charge, bro. If you don't take that $3 order, that food is going to sit there, and it's going to teach. What do you call them, Pedro? Clowns.
Oh, well, yeah, but that gets me in trouble. So let's be careful.
No, I'll take over. I'll take over. All the
I'm
ones,
good.
all the people, all the customers who don't tip, they're clowns, right? Okay. So
yeah, I mean, we got to stop enabling the behavior, because this is what I say.
Yeah.
You're either ignorant in a good or bad way, right? Ignorant meaning you just don't understand how the apps work and what we actually make, and that's why you don't tip. fine, whatever. Or you just like don't ever believe in tipping. That's cool too. But I don't have to bring you your food because I need to make money. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
So and plus those are usually the people that are going to give you bad delivery instructions. They're not going to be respectful of your car. I picked up a few people like that today. You know, you never know who you're picking up.
Yeah.
And they just kind of, you know, disrespect your space and this and that. And, you know, so yeah, I like to make my money as stress-free as possible. And the only way to do that in my market is no tip, no trip, and deliver to people that respect my time, and I'll give them great service, and I keep it as simple as I can keep it. So
Yeah, I saw that TikTok battle you had with that clown who says,
oh yeah, that guy.
yeah, no tip necessary. I'm like,
yeah.
Yeah, that's why you're not getting your food
That,
at
yeah,
all.
you know what
you're
was
getting
funny?
it as cold.
What was funny? He was like, okay. He said, I'll just get my money back. What? Okay, so if you order
Why'd
food,
you order the food in the first place?
why'd you
To
order?
eat, you idiot?
I'm hungry, or I got to feed my family. You're okay with
I'm like,
just
what an
ordering
idiot.
from somewhere else and waiting another 30 minutes? It doesn't make any logically, it doesn't make sense. So it's just, you know,
that's all good. That's all good. I like it. I like no tip, no trip. There you go.
Yep, that's good.
You can't
All right,
apply that to RideShare, by the way, Pedro. You can't apply that to RideShare.
I know that it's a total different beast. I'm good with that. It's
Yep.
all up front. If I get a tip on RideShare, I treat it like a bonus. I'm very thankful.
Yeah.
But it's
Same here, yeah.
totally different game.
Nobody tips at RideShare.
Yeah, I think I did
Is it?
11
funny.
today, and I got 2 tips. So yeah.
Did you? Okay, that's a bonus.
Yeah.
I mean, it's funny that we have their lives in our hands. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Yeah, well,
I mean, literally, we're driving you. I mean, we have your life in our hand versus bringing you the food that's going to be cold anyway, because you lazy ass didn't get off the couch and pick up your own food, right?
Yeah.
So I'm going, you tip on that one, but I have your life in my hand, and you don't tip on this one. I'm like,
Yeah.
Sometimes
when
I'm
was the
just
last time you were in a
driving
cab
along
and you didn't tip and get out? I'm like, hey, man. Anyway.
Yeah, no, I hear that. And it's weird. Like today, I picked up a guy, and you know, you got to read your car, right? You guys know. You guys are better at this than me. You know, some people want to talk, some don't. You know, I never force a conversation. I don't ask questions a lot. You know, like I'll ask them, you know, if the air's too hot or too cold, let me know. I could change it for you. And it's, you know, where you going or how's your day? Real simple, right? But like some people don't want to talk, and those are, you know, I picked up a guy today. Gets in the car, headphones in. I just confirm where he's going. I get there, drop him off, $5 tip. We said 2 words to each other, you know. So some people just tip.
Goodbye,
yeah, and he was probably thankful that I didn't talk his ear off and I let him just chill. You know, he needed 15 minutes of peace and quiet. So you got to read your passengers. You know, that's what works for me. But
Pedro, answer that question. Can someone please explain the purpose of hidden tips? I have no purpose other than being just shady as shit.
Yeah. So this is what I would say to that Judy. I don't, you know, this is my opinion on it. I've even heard the president of Doordash a year and a half ago mentioned this when Harry actually interviewed him, Christopher Payne. He said, you know, we don't want everybody just cherry picking and taking all the great orders. So when a customer tips really well, right, they want us to gamble. So for me, I know that $6.25, if I see an order for $6.25 going 4 miles or less, 95% of the time that order is going to be more. It could be $1 more, a quarter more. It could be $20 more, but most of the time it's going to be more. And I think the companies know that. They want to keep us guessing. And it really does a disservice to the consumer, because if I'm a consumer and I tip $10, which is what I tip when I order food, and they stack it, or they only show the driver that I tipped $4 and they hid the other $6, because that's what DoorDash does. My food might be delayed by 15, 20, 45 minutes because they didn't show the driver everything. So they want to keep us guessing. They want as many ants as possible. They don't want, you know, lions out here. They want ants just making everything happen, right? So I think that's why they hide it, to keep us guessing, because there's been times I've taken orders I thought would be bigger and they're not. But the food got delivered, and that's all the companies really care about. So.
Is Uber Eats the same in St. Louis as it is in LA, which is like once you've finished the delivery, right, the base rate shows up, right?
Yeah. Same.
And then it says you have 1 hour. The actual fare for this, including tip, was $20.
Yes.
But the base is only $6. Now you have 1 hour playing, you know, Wheel of Fortune. Am I going to get it? Am I not going to get it? Am I going to get it? I mean, I don't even understand the purpose of this thing. I mean,
really, I think
why do you have to keep me in suspense for an hour?
Yeah,
okay, why not 20 minutes? Why an hour? What's
Well,
an hour?
I think the reason they do that is because the consumer on their end have up
Yeah.
to that amount of time to increase or decrease the tip. So on Uber Eats, when I order on Uber Eats, because when I go live on Sundays, I do a food order and I do it live, and
Yeah.
I see how's my experience going to be. Always something funny happens, right? But even in when the driver's en route, so like if it says the driver picked up your White Castle or your Steak and Shake, right? Would you like to tip more? It gives you the option while the food's en route, and then as a consumer, I have the option of decreasing or increasing after I got my food. So I think it's a way for them to protect the consumer if they had a bad experience, or reward
That's
the
true,
driver
yeah.
if reward the driver if they had a really good experience, which
Yeah.
most people after they eat, they forgot about the driver.
Yeah.
Like, you bring them the food, they're not thinking. 99.9% of consumers aren't saying, "Oh, that Pedro guy really handed me the bag, really great." No,
Yeah.
they don't care. Like, they've already tipped, the amount's there. But it's just another manipulation tactic and a way to keep us guessing. Some people, some conspiracy theorists, or maybe there's evidence. I've heard a lot of people say this. I don't know where I lie yet on it, but they'll say, "Oh, well, Chris tipped $10, but you know what? We only have to give the driver 9 of that, right?" So I can show you a hidden tip, and you're surprised, but you don't know that it was 10 because I'm showing you it was 9. So I'm adding an extra couple bucks.
Yeah.
So that could be a way for them to manipulate money in that way as well. Some people would say that. So.
Mm.
Okay.
Yeah, and that's the conspiracy on pretty much every app, I think, that you can tip on. Are you getting 100% of tips or not?
Right.
So,
There's no, how could we really know? Like, you could put some
I mean,
experiments, but
do
it's
you
hard.
really think DoorDash would do that? They got busted one time for stealing tips. You think they'll still do it? I mean, I'm not sure, man.
I wouldn't put anything past any billion-dollar company. That's just where do I think Walmart does things? Monsanto does crazy things? Do I think
Oh,
Tesla?
yeah.
Do I think the big companies do things? Yeah,
Yeah.
I do.
Oh,
I
yeah.
do.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
I do. I think that. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
all right. Well, there's one thing that I do want to bring about, which is kind of just a warning, help protect drivers out there. This one's more for rideshare, so food delivery drivers who are watching. If you decide to do rideshare or anything like that, just keep your ears open. But there has been, an increase of some phishing scams and some, issues when it comes to passengers in the car who are trying to steal your money when you're driving. So essentially, just want to make a warning out there to all of you. First, when it comes to phishing, the people in your car are not your friends. You could talk to them, but if they're asking personal questions and they're asking, and they're trying to get more information, personal information, don't give it to them. Give them real basic answers. Just protect yourself, protect the people around you, that type of thing. Because there are people who are really good at it. They're really personable. They're really charismatic, and they will actually be able to get your information pretty well. So be careful with that. And then also, there is also people who are going in the back seat and saying, "Oh, my phone's dead, but I need to change something, or I need to add something, or I got to make a quick call. Can I use your phone?" Don't let anybody use your phone, and never ever hand the phone to somebody who is in your car that you don't know, because they could go into your app and they could change your banking information to theirs, and there's not really much you can do about it at that point. So again, just be careful with that stuff. We want to make sure you keep your money safe where it is, in your wallet, not in somebody else's. So just be careful with that. I just want to make that quick awareness there.
Yeah. Protect your info, man. No, don't accept, I mean, these shysters, they make the emails look exactly like what Uber would send you. And or first of all, Uber will never call you. Okay. So if you get a phone call saying I'm like Philippines or customer support with Uber, hang up. Uber will never call you ever, out of the blue anyway. They may call you back if you had a question for them, but they will never call you out of the blue saying, "Oh, hey, did you reset your? It's time to reset your password." I'm like, don't be an idiot. Don't.
Yep.
That's like Citibank calling you at 2 a.m. saying, "Oh, I think it's time to reset your password." That's not gonna happen. Yeah. So don't do that.
Uber and Lyft will give you 3 points of contact as well. So if they're trying to call, because it will happen, they could call you depending on if something happened, but it's not really out of the blue, but it's going to be something designed. But they're going to contact you through a text, through their number, through their text line. They're going to send you a notification in app, and that's very hard to mess with in app via notification and email. So they're going to give you 3 points contact. So if you get 3 points contact from somebody, that's an official Uber message that's coming to you, or Lyft message. I don't know how Doordash is or some of these other apps, but I know 3 channels of contact for both Uber and Lyft when it comes to them trying to contact you for something. If you don't have that, especially an in-app notification, ignore it, play with them a little bit. You could do a lot of different things, but never give out your personal information that way, or banking or password or anything like that.
Never. DoorDash will never ask you for your information. They might call you to say, I've had numerous calls, half a dozen over the couple of years. Hey, did you have this delivery? Or, that might happen, but they're not going to call you and ask you for your information. If they do, it's a complete scam.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah.
RideShare Lisa says, I haven't reset my password in 5 years. Do you even remember your password is the question now, RideShare Lisa?
Yeah, it's Lisa 123. Oh crap, just gonna have to change it now.
Oh, damn. Oh, Tony is here. Hey, Tony, I'm still in Quest Purgatory, my man. Quest jail. I'm not getting out anytime soon, but guess what? It's okay. I become just a delivery ant now. I become a delivery ant. Give me that Prop 22 money. I become a delivery ant. $50 an hour, baby. Come on, bring it on. Sergio, I can't make that kind of money right here, bro. I just can't make that kind of money right here. So I'm like,
Sergio, I want to know, would you rather make less than that threshold so you can get that free money?
Absolutely.
Or would you rather make well over that doing rideshare?
Okay, rideshare, I make well over that as it is. I have never gotten it. But once I got taste of the Prop 22 money, everything slowed down. I moved slow motion now. The first week, I was rushing to this restaurant, rushing to that restaurant, park this, do this. Now, what? It's not ready? 20 more minutes? No problem. I'll come back.
No, I can't. I just, maybe that's my own messed up way. I move too quick, and it's like a disadvantage for me sometimes. If I'm sitting in a restaurant and I've waited before many times, depending on the day and the time and the order size, but if I'm there 5 minutes, it feels like an hour for me. I just can't do it.
I understand that. I understand. I mean, look,
but I don't have Prop 22, so I can't.
Yeah, but Prop 22 money is look, Prop 22 money is definitely your weekly gas money plus a double probably. Okay, so to me, tips are more important than anything else. But I can't control Prop 22. Number one, I mean, look, I want the guy to get the food or the gal to get the food fast and hot and whatever. However, if the base rate, seriously, I mean, I complain about rideshare base rates. The Uber Eats base rates are so bad.
I've seen $1.50 sometimes.
Yeah. They're so bad that I do 61 trips. Look, last week I did 61 trips. You want to put that up again? 61 trips. I made $233 for base rates. Look, 61 trips, $266. What is that? That's like $4.
Yeah, that's high. Mine wouldn't have been that much probably.
No, but those tips, bro, those tips are gold right there.
Your tip should always be higher than, unless there's a crazy promotion or something. Your tips, in my opinion, should always be higher than your the fare from the company. Most of your money should come from.
So overall, what grade do I get, Pedro, for my first 2 weeks of delivery?
Let me see. Put it up, Chris. Put it up one more time for me. I'm gonna be honest with Sergio.
Yeah, honesty always goes.
Well, what did you do Wednesday? You took a day off? You only worked a little bit on Wednesday?
I just did
Sunday, no Saturday. No, listen, man. That's your second week.
Yeah,
I'll give you A minus.
A minus. I'm gonna strive for A plus.
No, I give you A minus. I think.
Okay. Did you add the $130 I'm getting extra? That's $800.
Well, no, I didn't. Well, I didn't see that. Okay, so
that's $800.
So 800, yeah, then you're 8 plus. Yeah, I'm going based off those numbers.
Okay. Yeah. So next week I'll send
minus Prop 22 money. Pretend it's not even there.
Oh yeah,
that's where the real.
So far so good. I love delivering food. I love it. Okay, here you go. I said it. I'm an idiot and we're not doing it for a year and a half during the pandemic when everybody was sitting on their asses at home. I am an idiot. I used to make fun of delivery people saying, why would I take somebody's burrito for $6 up to third level, find their goddamn apartment? I go like, idiots, bunch of idiots. I'm like, oh, no, again, it's on me. I'm
Well,
the
think
idiot.
about what we do. Today, I picked up a lady. She was nice. Small fare, low miles. I pick her up at the Schnucks, a local grocery store. She's got a cart full of stuff. So I open my back up for her, putting stuff in there, right? I let her load, she's loading it in. I'm kind of holding the, thing, and I'm going to close it for her. She says, thank you. Really nice lady. We get to the her house, right? And I'm wanting to go. I don't want to wait for her to unload everything. So I get out the car, I open it. I ask her, I could take a couple of these bags for you and set them at your door, because I'm trying to move, but also I want to be friendly. I just ended the trip, so now I'm helping her. Now the option to tip's going to come in. I'm playing the game, right? She looks at me and says, "Don't touch my groceries." I hadn't touched anything yet, but I asked her, "Would you like me to?" She looked at me dead face. "Don't touch my groceries." I said,
Wow.
"Yes, ma'am." I said, "Yes, ma'am." So I got back in the car, closed the door, and I'm like, a McDonald's bag would never do that to me. You know what I'm saying? So
Nope.
Yep.
No,
Exactly.
They don't do any of that. Yeah, I a lot of this was a misconception on my part, but
yeah, I might have to try it. You might have convinced me to actually try food delivery. I'll turn Uber Eats on.
nice.
I did it to write the article. Now I'm hooked. I'm hooked. I mean, I'm accomplishing more. I've been sitting, on my ass in my office doing the same thing. I have my laptop with me. I'm doing everything I'm doing, being productive, making some bucks. And I'm like, hey, what's the big deal? The only problem is it's been so hot in California that I'm sweating in church. I'm like, I don't know about that. But I enjoyed my 2 weeks of food delivery. So
I'm glad to hear it, man. It's good. I'm
Nice.
glad to see
Wait
it.
until I get Doordash, bro. I get Doordash and Grubhub, multi-app. I'll be zipping like Pedro.
Then we could talk, because
we're talking.
I do not like downtime. I need to be busy. Because I'm trying to get home ASAP. So even if I can cut off 30 minutes on some of my days. So if I'm home at 5:30 versus 6.
Yeah.
Oh man, I'm ecstatic. That's 30 minutes. I get to play with my kid a little bit more. I get to start dinner a little early. You know what I'm saying? So I'm trying to, if I'm sitting in my car for 5-10 minutes without making money, I'm steaming. It's something's wrong. So, but the only way to do that in my market, at least, is you got to have a couple things on at one time. So.
Cynthia says, what time did you deliver?
You and I are very similar.
Yeah.
Cynthia says, what time did I deliver? Okay, I figured out 2 honey holes for breakfast. First of all, I dropped my kid off at school, hit those for 2 hours. Depending on where it takes me to another honey hole that I discovered, I do lunch. And then these are all couple hours, shifts. And then my son plays soccer, so I drop him off at practice at 6, pick him up at 9. It's a 3-hour practice. So I have I watch him a little bit of this, a little bit of that, do a couple hours of food. It's all shits and giggles, okay? Yeah. Seriously. Yeah. I mean, it's been nothing but fun. But I created my Bermuda Triangle. Who told me that? I don't remember, but I did. Bro, I'm so efficient now, but I'm gonna try to become an A+ student of Pedro.
An A- is good, but listen, Serge, I see how you're working. I need to give you a little room to improve, right? So I can't give you A+ yet.
I know. I'm gonna do it, and then after I'm fully competent of what I'm doing, we're gonna have a competition.
That's good. I'm ready.
We're gonna pick one app at a time. One app at a time. No multi-apping bullshit.
Just
one app at a time.
Straight bragging rights. Straight bragging
rights.
Right.
Yeah. Between St. Louis, Buffalo, and LA.
I like it.
Oh boy.
And then
all right. Well, we're wrapping up here. Any last things, real quick?
I'm good, guys. Gentlemen, thanks for having me on. Really look forward to. We got that virtual gig cons coming October 22nd. Be on the lookout for that. Definitely going to have Chris and/or Serge help do something with that, hopefully, and come on and talk about some RideShare.
I'll be there.
It'll be virtual, and it'll be real fun, 4 or 5 hour event. So be on the lookout for that, guys.
And awesome. I want to be on with Mr. Metadata for about 15 minutes.
We'll talk offline when that happens.
Okay.
All right. Thanks for watching, everybody. Next week is going to be a pretty special episode. Following week, we're looking at trying to do a full upfront earnings video with some tests and stuff like that.
What do we have next
also,
week? What do we have next week, bro? What do we have next week?
Next week's the
sorry.
You know what it is.
I forgot.
We can't bring that up yet. You'll see why next week. But also, quick thing: if anybody is watching that's in the Western New York area or around Buffalo, please get hold of me. Chris@therideshareguy.com is my email. I'm trying to get a couple of tests set up to try to test out Uber's algorithms when it comes to this upfront earnings. So if there is anybody in the Western New York area who wants to partake in that, please shoot me an email, Chris@therideshareguy.com, and let me know because I'm going to be trying to set something up. All right. Thanks again, Pedro, for coming on. Always a pleasure having you. And Sergio, always good, especially with the switch up from food delivery to, I'm sorry, from rideshare to food delivery.
Who says you can't teach an old dog new tricks, man? There you go.
Hey, if we can teach Sergio something, anybody can learn something, right?
Yeah, that's right. If you can, I'm like plywood, bro. If you can teach plywood stuff, I'm like, hey, anybody can do it. But you know what? My wife's still showing up to pick up those noodles, bro. I'm telling you, that has to be the highlight of the week.
That was a good story.
Yeah,
man.
that's great.
It's true. It's true. And I was like, huh?
I wish there was a camera. I wish there was a dash cam footage of that.
What's the first question I asked Philippines support the next morning? First question, do you know what throttling means? The girl goes, excuse me, sir?
They're not going to know
what throttling means.
That might mean something totally different in the Philippines. So
maybe, Anyway, so
that might be something related.
Yeah, they didn't know what throttling was, and I'm like, okay.
Right. Yeah, they're not going to know. That's going to be something in the back end of the Uber files.
The roosters know in the background when you call Philippines. That's what they do.
All right. Have a great rest of your day, everybody. Right. We'll see you next week, but make sure you subscribe, ring the bell for notifications. Thanks again for coming on, Pedro, and we'll see you guys next week.